AfriForum and SAAI call for international sanctions against Julius Malema in a new dossier. South African civil rights organization AfriForum and the Southern African Agri Initiative, or SAAI, have published the Malema Dossier in an effort to bring international pressure on former African National Congress Youth League leader and current party leader of the Economic Freedom Fighters, Julius Malema. Although both Malema and his party have recently been found guilty of spewing hate speech, neither has ever been brought to book for what many have perceived as crimes against humanity, hate crimes, corruption, and Malema's affinity for state sponsors of terrorism, until now. After escaping a guilty verdict in the now infamous Kill the Boer trial in 2024, in which South African courts inexplicably found Malema and the Economic Freedom Fighters could call for the slaughter of white South Africans, as the repulsive song is, in their determination, a so-called struggle song, and therefore free speech. Imagine a group of white South Africans toy-toying, dancing like maniacs outside the offices of a black doctor in South Africa, calling for the murder of the Bantu people, or more poignantly, the murder of unbelievers. Of course, that is derived from a so-called K word, which the mere utterance of is a felony crime punishable by imprisonment in South Africa, but only if you happen to have the misfortune of being white in South Africa. Now, the hypocrisy of South African courts and the twisting of the Constitution to protect hate merchants and promote black supremacy is a betrayal of Ubuntu, the Freedom Charter of 1955, the spirit of reconciliation which Mandela publicly espoused, and, frankly, leads to crimes against humanity perpetrated by violent offenders, encouraged by failed criminal prosecution and a justice system that rarely holds murderers to account. For years, Julius Malema and his merry band of malcontents has repeatedly and intentionally sang a repulsive call to incite violence and intimidate white South Africans, most of whom were born into a world of majority black rule and have no part in the past, yet are assigned collective guilt by a morally bankrupt group of avowed racists who hate them for their skin color.
Where were you when I'm sick? Where were you when I'm there? So far sketchy, so far sketchy, at 13, kichima, Sibram Konto Alliance, shoot to kill, Gamaza, kill the poor, the farmer. Kill the poor, the farmer. Brr, pa, pa, brr, pa, pa. Attention.
Just days after Malema and the increasingly less popular EFF were found guilty of hate speech, AfriForum and SAAI have published a dossier to bring international attention to what they consider the crimes of Malema. Now, it remains to be seen what, if any, impact this dossier will have in bringing attention or actions from the international community. The report, co-signed by AfriForum CEO Kali Creel and SAAI Executive Chairperson Theo Diager, is broken into three sections of instances of Malema's purported misconduct. Section 1, violent rhetoric, hate speech, and racist remarks by Julius Malema. Section 2, Malema's anti-Western statements and support for terrorist organizations. And Section 3, corruption, a discussion document to motivate the invoking of the Magnitsky Act on certain individuals by the American authorities. You can see how this is clearly intended to reach an American audience at a minimum. Now, the highly detailed enumeration of offenses is a compelling document of misdeeds, including threats of racially motivated ethnic cleansing. At a political rally in November 2016, Malema stated, "We, the EFF, are not calling for the slaughter of white people, at least for now. The rightful owners of the land are black people. No white person is a rightful owner of the land here in South Africa and the whole of the African continent." He's also called for insurrection. "We will remove this government through the barrel of a gun." During a televised news interview in April of 2016, Malema stated, "Part of revolutionary duty is to fight, and we are not ashamed. And if the need arises for us to take up arms and fight, we will fight." He furthermore stated, "We will run out of patience very soon, and we will remove this government through the barrel of a gun." And that was 9 years ago. Apparently he has a lot of patience. Now, of course, Malema has never served in uniform, never participated in any armed struggle, never participated in the anti-apartheid movement. He's little more than a snot-nosed punk pretending to be a soldier and a leader. Perhaps that's why he's never been charged of fomenting insurrection, even though he's made public threats to that effect. No one takes the little twerp seriously. Inciting and attacking sovereign nations and international organizations. In 2018, the EFF lashed out at Australia when the then Minister of Home Affairs, Peter Dutton, considered fast-tracking visas for white South African farmers. In response, Malema said that if a racist country like Australia says the white farmers are being killed in South Africa, we are not killing them. Now Australia says, Malema, EFF want to kill white farmers, they must come to Australia. Now this is, of course, ironic, given the woke political nature of a groveling Australian government that pays homage and kowtows to foreign flags on its own soil. His intent to arm terrorists. In October 2023, Malema stated the EFF, when it takes over next year, is going to arm Hamas and make sure Hamas has the necessary equipment to fight for its freedom. Of course, Hamas has freedom to oppress the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip, where it rules illegitimately. Now, nothing came of this threat, as the EFF has as much chance of taking over South Africa at the ballot box as I do of becoming president of the United States of Africa, or of hell freezing over for that matter. Nonetheless, the dangerous rhetoric gives terrorists succor and inspires them to violent criminal acts. Now, the authors of the report offer their Malema Dossier to highlight an intentionally crafted strategy of selective prosecution, or rather, in this instance, the sheltering of Mr. Malema from prosecution because he is a South African politician and is proven to be untouchable. Now, the dossier also discusses the Venda Building Society scandal and purported racketeering activities of Malema and the economic freedom fighters. Clearly, the intent here is to solicit attention from the United States, which has legislation on the books that will permit Washington to take immediate punitive actions against Malema under the Magnitsky Act. To that end, the authors argue that this document sufficiently exposes facts and findings that justifiably fall within the following criteria as just cause for the invoking the Magnitsky Act. In Section 43.1, illicit enrichment of individuals. 43.2, misuse of public funds for private gain. Section 43.3, bribery and kickbacks. And Section 43.4, money laundering. All of these are applicable under the Magnitsky Act and could lead President Trump to take immediate action should he so desire. Now, this is a very detailed dossier and a compelling document that ought to get the attention of U.S. lawmakers. Whether it has any effect in the captured halls of Berlin, The Hague, Canberra, or Whitehall seems far less likely. But a victory for the authors needs only be the U.S. invoking the Magnitsky Act to punish Malema. Will that occur? Only time will tell. However, with Pretoria repeatedly insulting and undermining the United States every single week, it seems increasingly likely that Congress and/or President Trump will eventually take some sort of action against South Africa or its politicians who undermine human dignity and freedom. People like Julius Malema. What say you, South Africa, Zanzi? Any thoughts on this one? Does this report amount to anything? A hill of beans? I've read it. It's quite detailed and extensive. And when you see all of the utterances of Malema and his actions compiled in one place, in a real country, this man would have been in prison years ago. That he isn't in South Africa speaks volumes for the corrupt political system that allows him to call for the slaughter of South African citizens. Their own government doesn't protect them. Cheers.